remote. So let me say remote, right? And just try to typecast first demo EJB remote obj. You have typecasted, right? And then you say remote dot, what is the method name? Remote test demo, which will return a string result, and try to print the result. Out dot print result. Try to print the result, and here the invocation happening, a lookup mechanism and an invocation. And now try to deploy it. Sorry, it's got as a war file and finish. It's being deployed. Yep. So look at on the server. Yes, deployment is success. And now try to say refresh. What you got? Testing session bin. Testing session bin. The method you have invoked exactly. Demo.test demo, and look at this. What exactly this will return? Testing session bin. So invocation is success. So here, guys, we'll look in detail what exactly is happened. This is a configuration, right? What's the first configuration? EJB container, you have deployed the EJB where you have one bin configured in the JNDI, and servlet did a lookup mechanism, and then servlet has invoked. This is a partial, a high level view. Now let us see a low level view, right? EJB high level. I'm writing high level view. Where did I save it? Yeah, on the desktop. That's fine. Now let's create a new. During runtime, what exactly happened? What is the first one we have? Our session bin, and it is first demo bin, whatever it may be, and it is implementing a remote bin, right? First demo bin remote. Yep, clear on the client side. On the client side, what exactly happened inside a servlet? Right, what the first servlet did, it did a lookup, right? So now this entire thing, whatever the bean is stored in the JNDI, you agree with me that they are stored in the JNDI. Reference, right? So what is servlet does? First of all, initial context dot lookup, using API it does a lookup in the reference. So what the JNDI it will do, it will send only the reference, right? Object reference is sent. Now after doing the object reference, we know that this object is being converted into what? Typecasted into what? What are the remote bin you had it here? That is FTPR, whatever it is there, it is converted. After getting into a reference, the JNDI is sending a reference. After getting into a reference, it has been typecasted into FTPR. The same bin what you had here is also residing on the client side. Means on the both server and the client, we had a bin, right? The test EJB you could see here it has been converted. The same bin is on the server side, which is a remote. After having this, Now you are making an invocation over here on this object, and the method name is test demo. The actually object is here, but invocation, the method, where is the method implementation? The method implementation is here for test demo. You have only interface over there, right? Method implementation is here, blah blah blah, whatever it may be. Method implementation is here, but here you have only interface. On the interface, what exactly you are trying to do? You are trying to invoke a method which is a test demo, right? So when you click on the method, what exactly is happened? The method on the implementation, yes, here you have an interface, but the implementation is in by a session bean. And when a object is invoking on the test.demo, this is something called a remote procedure called a remote method invocation. I'm right or wrong, guys? A remote procedure, the concept of RPC, remote procedure call, means a procedure is over here and the object is exactly over here. A remote procedure call, the concept is called something RMI, remote method invocation, remote method invocation. So interface is here, but implementation is fine. So you are invoking here, but the actual invocation is happening on the bean, and this bean will send the response back, right? So now how a low level is happening. Any guess? Yeah, let me just as I told you, what the JND is giving. The JND is giving only the reference, right? Only we are looking for the object and we got a reference, but what kind of reference it is sending, what kind of transportation it is doing, it is not sending the actual object at all. It is not sending the actual object at all. And what is being sent? It is being sent is the proxy object, right? So let me to do that. The object, whatever the object is there, it is being printed. Now try to deploy on the server, right? It has been deployed on the server. Right click and refresh, and you could see the proxy details over here. Interface, EJB proxy, session proxy, blah blah blah. So a proxy has been sent from client to the, it has sending only the proxy, not the complete implementation. As I discussed, it is not sending the implementation. If it is sending a implementation, then you don't require something server or a client. You can directly implement over here. A reference is sent, a proxy is sent, and you are making an invocation on the proxy. And when you are making an invocation on the proxy, here the client assumes that it is doing a local invocation. The client is not aware a invocation is happening on the proxy, right? The client is not aware. The client assumes that the invocation is local. Like if you look at the code, here calling remote.test demo. So the solid program, the client is unaware how the invocation is happening. Not at all, not at all. So when you say remote.test data, so you are making an invocation on the proxy, right? And when you make an invocation on the proxy makes the actual call on the session beans. Actual call on the session bean means you make a call on the proxy, and proxy makes a call on the something called onto the session bean, and session beans returns the result back to the proxy, and proxy gives result back to the client. So with the help of mechanism of what? With the help of mechanism something called proxy, right? So proxy, what this proxy is hiding? Proxy is hiding session bean details, session bean implementation details, and right, you make an invocation on the proxy, and proxy in turn invokes a session bean, and session beans gives the return back to the proxy, and proxy gives details back to the client. So here once again a interface as a proxy, and the proxy knows the details of the session beans and everything. Fine. So now what we'll try to do, we'll try to elaborate in detail. Let me take one kind of EJB proxy, GBOS. Let me take two kind of proxy. This is one interface EJB proxy. The problem is it does not have GBOS EJB proxy. I need to have the library, and it's possible only in the runtime. Leave it, guys. We'll test it tomorrow in detail. In high level, we'll do it in the next session. So once again, guys, what exactly is happening? A serialization and deserialization is happening. So which we'll be describing in detail in the next session. Serialization and deserialization happens, which we'll discuss the concepts. So as of now, what you need to understand, so we'll dig into more detail, but as of now, what exactly you have to understand, the session beans, they implement the remote bean and they are configured in the GNDI. Once they are configured in the GNDI, the servlet first of all has to get a reference from the GNDI, and the GNDI sends a proxy object, and the client makes a calls on the proxy, and all the implementation details are hidden in the proxy. So client makes a invocation on the proxy, proxy in turn makes a calls to the session bean. So, and underneath a serialization and deserialization happens, which we'll discuss in the next session in more detail. Fine. Thanks guys, and wind up the session. Let us summarize the session. Summary. What is the summary? EJB 2.0 versus EJB 3.0 plus EJB 3.1. Right. The discussion and use cases. So beans we have discussed, and sample session bean, and high level view of deployment we have seen. Configuration, high level view of configuration and deployment we have seen, right? And we have seen the low level, but we need to dig more. Low level, right? Low level view, and we have created sample bean and GNDI lookup mechanism. And what is the other one? Lookup and invocation mechanism we have seen. Right, so next week we'll continue in detail. That's it, guys. Thanks.